What is up, everybody? This week I am still jamming on the NASROD, getting it ready for LS Fest, Texas. Let's go. All right, everybody. I got the shifter centered. I love it with the seat in here. I tested the e-brake kind of to see where I'm going to mount that. I got that figured out. And as far as positioning goes, I welded in these tabs for the brake pedals, but I actually want to move it forward, the whole pedal system. I don't have any 1/8" metal here, which is what I need. I have some like 20 gauge or some of that 1/4 inch. The 1/4 inch would do, but it's like way too much. And the piece I have would not fit. I'd have to do like 2 or 3 pieces. So I'm gonna wait and get some material for that. I know where I want them to be. So even if I did everything else in the chassis and did that when I was taking it apart, that would be no problem. The seat mount, I'm kind of at a pause on because I got to get the pedals mounted. And then I'll put my hoop in where the pedals will fit. And then I'm going to do basically like a center console. But I don't have all the stuff for that yet because I got to get the pedals in. So I'm kind of kicking myself in the butt for not getting the proper metal. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start working on the steering column. What I have is I got from this Hammered Concepts and Designs is this carbon fiber steering tube, and then I got their billet roller bearing joint kit that takes 3/4 chromoly. It's really nice, and this will just go in there with some epoxy. Really nice. And then it also came with these really nice billet aluminum mounts. Right, we use these on Stacie's car, just the same kind of setup. And then it has these chromoly tabs that have a couple bolt holes in them. So this thing's got a little bit of adjustability to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these off here. I'm going to bolt them to this here. I have a center mark where I want my steering wheel, right here on this cage. So I'm literally just going to weld that to where that bolts up right there. And that'll be my starting point. And then I will be able to sit in here with the steering wheel and the column, and I'll be able to get me a hole through the firewall. Now the firewall is not completely attached yet because I changed the design of how I'm going to have this thing come together. So I do need to pull it out and cut it so it will slide on with the body. I'm going to keep it on the body. I was going to do it like Stacie's car where the firewall is attached to the chassis, but I really feel like that would is going to make the body harder to get on and off. Yeah, I'm just not feeling that, I don't think. Although, now that I'm thinking about it, it would make better sense because of the steering column and all that stuff. The body could just come off, and I could literally drive this thing with no body on it if I had that firewall. Like I'm thinking I need to attach it here. So again, to a point where I got to think about that. So I got seat mounts left. I got to figure out what I'm doing. Floor pans. I got a whole day. I got a whole day of interior work left to do. Easy, a whole day. I'm going to have to hand cut all the floor pans and put those in. And I'll stitch those in. And they're going to be flat above the floor. I'm excited about those. So, I don't know, it's about 1 o'clock in the morning now. I could start a new project or I could get some sleep. I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning with Stacie because she had to go to the doctor and get the procedure done. So, yeah, I might just take like the next 20 minutes here and just kind of tinker around. I don't feel like I got very far, but I feel like I did get some important stuff done. Moving the shifter was huge. Finding this pedal box assembly that's going to work in this space and utilize the space the best was huge. A bunch of this stuff has been really good moving forward. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to work on a few things. Let me see, what else do I have up here? Yeah, I'll probably find time to weld these on. I got these here for tow hooks for tying this car down. I got these hooks here. I don't know if I'm gonna use them. I didn't realize they were that thick, but I got these here to strap the fuel cell or the fuel containers down. I got some 3/4 inch chromoly tubing for the steering shaft. I have this mil-spec steering joint that I'm gonna use. And then this here is I'm gonna use this to help me mount the shocks. So, which I still gotta figure out. So maybe I'll work on the front coilovers real quick, just get an idea in my head now that I have all the parts here, and go from there. All right, so after messing around with all of this stuff here, what I think I need to tackle next is I need to pull the firewall panel out. I need to make it to where it'll attach to the body, not the chassis. That'll make things a lot easier. I think versus my old idea of leaving it hooked to the chassis. So I'm going to do that, which is simply just cutting from this bar straight down to that bar, so it'll just lift literally straight out of there. No big deal. And then I'll save those pieces and we'll attach them as a secondary piece. That's no big deal. And then once I get that done, I'll tack it to the body, and then that'll be that. So from there, I will take and build a 1 5/8 tube to come up, over, and across down to the other side. What that's gonna do is that's gonna allow me to mount my coilover with the billet mount pushing against the tube, and keep the angle right, and I could set the height how I want to. So my plan is I'm gonna take this cantilever here, and right here, I'm gonna drill a hole through the tube, and I'm gonna have a nut and a bolt go through with a tube that goes through that's welded on both ends. And that's actually gonna be my pivot mount. It's gonna be pretty cool, I think. I think it's gonna turn out just how I want to. And I might even drop a brace down to here and one down to here just to keep this tube from wanting to twist. I think that'll really be nice and it'll look cool. So that's what I'm gonna work on now, is get the firewall panel mounted to the cab to where it'll come in and out easy, so the cab will lift off still. I'm super excited how all this is going. The other night when I left off, I was kind of really tired and kind of was stumped and what was next here. So I think I got a really good plan moving forward. Excuse me yawning. I was just, lack of sleep and working and stress and stuff has been getting to me, but I see the finish line, right? We're really close. Like, you need to get these coilovers mounted today. If I can get that done, and where these yellow lines are gonna be, that's actually where I'm gonna make kind of a brace system. And I think that'll just look really cool and it'll help tie everything together. So I'm gonna do that, I think, out of 1 1/4 tubing with and it's gonna be completely removable. So if I want to, if I need to pull the engine, I'll just pull that brace off and pull the engine. And I actually think I'm gonna come from here over to here with some bent tubes. I think that'll work. So let me get after this. All right, y'all. I think I got it perfectly how I want it. Okay. Pulling out all my tricks on this one here. Have to. This thing has been a challenge for me, design-wise, but I knew I wanted to use the biggest, baddest shocks I could get from QA1. So I got their long 24-inch Mod Series units here with the remote reservoir canister on there. And Pizza Boy Metalworks builds these really, really cool cantilever rockers. I know a lot of guys see this stuff and they like it and they want to do it on their own. So he manufactures these and he has them on the shelf ready to go. Basically what I did here, since I wanted it to be outboard, is I got 3/4 inch 120 wall chrome Holley, which gives it 1.5 inches and some change center hole. And I literally drilled a hole, a 3/4 inch hole in my tube there through and through at a little bit of an angle, 1/4 inch kick, and that's where I started. And then I zip tied this part of the fulcrum here to the tube because I wanted this thing to be basically straight up and down. It will be adjustable. And then I'm using these hammer concepts and designs, things that they call them. They're billet steel mounts, shock mounts. They're not intended for what I'm doing, but they work for what I'm doing. So I got it set up. And then these are the QA1 clamps for the reservoir. They're for 1.5 inch tube. I have 1 1/4 tube, which is fine because I'm using this coupler that I cut open and modified to fit. And that way, it won't scratch my tube, it'll hold it solid. The other night I was stumped and I almost gave up on the cantilever stuff. And I figured I'd give this a whirl, and if this didn't work, then I was out on it. And guess what? It freaking works. This is the stock Corvette suspension on this deal, stock geometry and everything. And this thing's got some beefy angles, so I'm excited to see what the drift parts will do, because yeah, I think the rack is a limiting factor on this stock stuff. Basically, once I did one side, the other side was really easy to duplicate because I just measured and copied my measurements and put it together. So now I have my rear rocker assemblies to install back here. This was going to be really easy until I remembered I have these big old nitrous bottles that have to go on here too, and that is a design change that I am not doing. Those bad boys are staying on there. I just love the look of them. It just is this car. So what I'm going to do is I have some 120 wall 1 inch tubing bent at 90 degrees here, and I'm going to put these here, up here. I'm going to cope them and put them up here, and I'm going to drill the 3/4 inch hole through these here just the same way, and I'm going to set the shock through this here also. Stood off to the side a little bit, but this is beefy enough tubing, it'll be able to handle the side load. Alright, so here I have my rear rocker, and this is going to go on this cross tube here. Right, I'm going to shorten the one side up so it straightens it up, and literally it's just going to push. It's going to be easy peasy. So I'm going to shorten the one side up to where it's basically straight. So I'm going to have to take about 1 inch off the inside one, or find an 1 inch shorter tab. See, maybe I have one. Get that set down in there, and weld those up. This here looks like it's going to be fairly easy, and I'm going to try and maybe slide this thing out even a little bit further here. And then my push rod is actually going to go down through here, and it's going to go down. Sorry, using my phone to point. Go down through here, and then it's going to. I think I'm going to bend an S in it, so it should have plenty of clearance. And then for my push rods, I got 120 wall, 1 1/4 tubing. This is chrome Holley. Just buy it in 4-foot chunks from Summit. I got 4 of them because I didn't know how long I was going to need. And then I'm using these, I think these are RK Heim joints. I had a bunch of them left over from the previous time we built this because we use these for the tie rods and the push rods also. So it's going to be a tight fit in there. It's meant to go in there. But that's going to be a really, really tough push rod, because this is 3/4 thread, and this is 5/8, and I'll step it down to 1/2 inch through bolt. This is basically as big as what we have on Stacie's 4-link on her car, so it should be plenty enough for the push rod of this thing, right? Because literally all it has to do is like You got to figure your spring rate's only like 450 pounds per square inch, you know, so as long as it can handle that much of a straight load, it will be fine. The only time that these really fail is if you have a bunch of threads sticking out and it sees a bunch of side load. So as long as we can keep the side load down and have everything, the alignment right in my S-bend, it should not be a problem at all. So, God, look at that. Fancy. Love this thing, man. It's just getting better and better and better the more I work on it. But I have, today is Sunday, I have till Wednesday night at the latest to have this thing completely welded out. So I'm gonna work on it late tonight. I'm gonna get the coilovers mounted at least tonight and tacked in like I did. I got the fronts done already. The rears hopefully don't kick my butt too bad. And then once I get those done, I gotta work on finishing the interior. Kyle's going to the metal shop for me in the morning. He's gonna go do some customer stuff, drop some cars off, pick some cars up, and then he's gonna stop by the metal store and he's gonna help me probably tomorrow evening cut some cardboard and get the floor ready for this bad boy, because once we get the floor in, I'll feel more comfortable doing the seat stuff and we'll have all the material needed to do that. So, but talking isn't getting work done, so I'm gonna quit talking and start getting the work done. Alright, after a little bit of work and a little bit of figuring, I got my tabs welded on, and I used the same mounts I did in the front right here on the back. I might have to relieve a little bit of material here. I am going to have to put a little notch in these guys. It shouldn't affect the strength of those at all, so no big deal there. I'm going to do the same on the fronts, but like it moves, so I'm super excited. So I got the rear cantilevers all done. I still got to do the push rods, struts, and then I got the front cantilevers all done. I still got to do the push rod struts. I got these front strut bars done that I really wanted, which I love how those look. The headlights are installed. I didn't finish weld those out, but that shit looks really good. I'm super pumped about that. I'm actually going to be running the wiring through here, so I'm going to drill a hole here and run the wiring up that way, just to keep the chassis wiring as clean as I can. I'll do a Deutsch connector down here at the end for the headlights and for the LEDs. What else here? I got the firewall done. I got this brace built. I just am really happy with how things are going. But I just got a call from Stacie, and the dogs got sprayed by a skunk. So, and she just had an operation. So I am going to call it a night. It's 11 o'clock. But I'm going to call it a night, and I'm going to go home and help her take care of the dogs. But man, I am really pleased with how all this turned out. It was a good day's worth of work. Hopefully tomorrow I could have the same kind of success on my vision and kick some more butt. All right, so now that you've seen all the work that I've done to this bad boy, that is going to be it till we reveal it at Texas Motor Speedway for Holley LS Fest Texas. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell, do all that stuff. Make sure you check out jessiestore.com for all of our latest merch and parts sales. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.